Hello, hello everyone. Once again, this is Prerna Arora. I am here to give you the line by line explanation of lesson number 3, part 2, that is a black aeroplane. Before I begin, let me give you the theme of the story and let me tell you a little about the writer, or you can say the author. This story is written and narrated by the writer Frederick Forsyth. He was born on 25th August 1938 in Ashford, Kent, England. He was educated there only, and later on he joined a university in Spain. He joined the RAF and became a jet fighter pilot. He became a journalist and joined the BBC in 1965, where he served as an assistant diplomatic correspondent. This is all about the writer. Now I'll give you the theme of this lesson. Frederick Forsyth describes quite a unique but mysterious experience during his flight from Paris to London. During the flight, he was lost amid mountains of dark clouds. He couldn't believe his eyes. The compass was dead. It would not work. He received no answer from Paris control either. He could see another aeroplane flying next to him through the storm. He followed the strange aeroplane till he could see the runway and was safe. When asked from the control center, he was told that no plane except his own was flying in the storm. Where did the aeroplane come from? Who was the man who asked him to follow him? Where did he disappear after leaving him in safety? These are the questions which are still surrounded in mystery. Children, this is all about the theme. Once the narrator was going from Paris to London. On his way, what happened? It's all about that and his experience of his journey and who helped him, mainly who helped him during his journey. So let's start our explanation of the lesson. The moon was coming up in the east behind me when the narrator was flying his old Dakota plane. He saw the moon was there behind him in the east, and the stars were shining in the clear sky above him. He was not that high from the ground, and he also saw the stars, stars in the clear sky, which were shining above him. There wasn't a cloud in the sky. The sky was clear. I was happy to be alone high up above the sleeping countryside. He said that he was happy that other people of the country were sleeping and he was flying high above all of them. I was flying my old Dakota airplane over France back to England. Here, the writer or the author says that he saw all these views while flying his old Dakota airplane. Dakota is the name of the airplane. He was flying his old Dakota airplane over France back to England. He was heading to England. I was dreaming of my holiday and looking forward to being with my family. He was having dreams of how he is going to spend his holidays, and he was very much anxious, eagerly waiting to see his family, to be with his family. I looked at my watch, 1:30 in the morning. When he looked at his watch, he saw the time was 1:30 a.m. I should call Paris control room soon, I thought. He thought of calling Paris control room. As I looked down past the nose of the aeroplane, I saw the lights of a big city in front of me. As he leaned towards the nose of the aeroplane, he saw the lights of a big city, of the city I switched on the radio and said, he switched on the radio in his aeroplane and said, Paris Control, Dakota DS 088 here. He gave the description of his aeroplane. Can you hear me? I am on my way to England. Over. He delivered the message that he is on his way to England if they could hear him. The voice from the radio answered him immediately. DS 088, I can hear you. You ought to turn 12 degrees west now. DS 088, over. The person on the other side of the radio answered him that he has to take a turn 12 degrees west to head towards London. I checked the map and the compass, switched over to my second and last fuel tank. These lines show that there wasn't enough of fuel in his aeroplane. He checked the map, he checked the compass, and after that he switched on the second and last fuel tank. There are two fuel tanks. It means his Dakota airplane was having two fuel tanks, and now he switched over to his second fuel tank and turned the Dakota 12 degrees west towards England. And now as the directions were given to him to turn 12 degrees, so he did so. He turned his Dakota 12 degrees west towards England. I'll be in time for breakfast, I thought. He thought that he will be well enough on time for his breakfast. A good big English breakfast. He is explaining the English breakfast is very big and or you can say full of delicacies. Everything was going well. It was an easy flight. Paris was about 150 kilometers behind me when I saw the clouds. And suddenly what happens? When he moved 1 kilometer ahead of Paris, he saw the clouds, storm clouds. Clouds were not simply like which you can say normal clouds. They were storm clouds. They were huge. They were quite big clouds. They looked like black mountains standing in front of me across the sky. He said that. He explained, or he gave the description of the clouds as big black mountains. I knew I could not fly up and over them, and I did not have enough fuel to fly around them to north or south. He said that he noticed the fuel tank and he knew it very well that there wasn't enough of fuel in the fuel tank to go above these clouds and to go north or south of these clouds. I ought to go back to Paris, I thought. He thought of going back to Paris, but I wanted to get home. I wanted the breakfast, but on the other hand, he was very much eager to reach his home and to have breakfast with his family members. I'll take the risk, I thought, and flew that old Dakota straight into the storm. He took the risk. He thought of taking the risk and entered into the storm clouds. Inside the clouds, everything was suddenly black, as the clouds were quite dark. Inside the clouds, he could see nothing. It was all black. It was impossible to see anything outside the aeroplane. The old aeroplane jumped, twisted in the air because of the charges. Clouds have charges, everybody knows. Because of the charges, the aeroplane jumped and twisted, or you can say turned in the air. I looked at the compass. He looked at the compass he just to see the direction, to make sure which direction he was moving to. He could not believe his eyes. The compass was turning round and round and round. He could not believe his eyes. The compass was turning round and round as it was completely dead. It would not work. The other instruments were suddenly dead too. The other tools of the aeroplanes were also dead. I tried the radio. He looked for the radio. Paris Control, can you hear me? had no radio. Sorry, there was no answer. The radio was dead too. I had no radio, no compass, and I could not see where I was. I was lost in the storm. He was completely lost in the storm. He could not see anything. He could not deliver any message, and even he was not having any compass to make sure where he was or about his location. He was unsure. So he was completely lost. Then, in the black clouds quite near me, I saw another aeroplane. Suddenly, he saw another aeroplane near to his. It had no lights on its wings. Even on the wings, there were no lights. But I could see it flying next to me through the storm. But narrator noticed that that aeroplane was flying next to his. I was very glad to see another person. The narrator took a sigh of relief. He was very happy to see another person flying by his side. He lifted one hand and waved. Narrator lifted one hand and waved, or you can say signaled, so that the other pilot could see him. Follow me, he was saying, follow me. The other pilot told the narrator to follow him. He knows that I am lost. Narrator says that the other pilot was sure that he was lost in the storm. So he gave him here means the narrator. He gave the pilot of the other aeroplane gave signal to the narrator to follow him. He is trying to help me. Narrator thought that the pilot was trying to help him. He turned his aeroplane slowly to the north in front of my Dakota so that it would be easier for me to follow him. The pilot of the other aeroplane turned his aeroplane slowly to the north and made it easier for the narrator to follow his aeroplane. I was happy to go behind the strange aeroplane like an obedient child. Narrator says that day he followed the other aeroplane just like an obedient child. After half an hour, the strange black aeroplane was still there in front of me in the clouds. Still they were struggling in the clouds. It's been half an hour. Now, there was only enough fuel in old Dakota's last tank to fly for 5 or 10 minutes more. He was not having enough of fuel to fly for longer time. There was fuel only for him to fly just for 5 or 10 more minutes. I was starting to feel frightened again. Again, narrator was, you can say, there was a strange fear, or he was not having a good feeling. But then he started to go down and I followed through the storm. Then narrator noticed that the other aeroplane has started going down and narrator also followed him. Suddenly I came out of the clouds and saw 2 long straight lines of light in front of me. Suddenly the narrator saw the 2 lines of lights. That was a runway where the aeroplanes land. He saw the 2 lines on the both sides of the runway. There are lights for the aeroplane to make sure that this is the place for them to land. He saw that landing area and he was quite relieved at that time. It was a runway, an airport. I was safe. I turned to look for my friend in the black aeroplane. Then narrator thought of his friend. He took a turn to see his friend who helped him in these strong storm clouds. There was nothing there. The black aeroplane was gone. I could not see it anywhere, but the narrator was not able to see any sign of that black aeroplane. It was nowhere. I landed and was not sorry to walk away from the old Dakota near the control tower. He landed and he went to the control tower. I went and asked a woman in the control center where I was and who the other pilot was. I wanted to say thank you. He asked the woman on the reception that where he was, and he wanted to say thank you to the person who helped him in the storm. She looked at me very strangely. The woman gave a she was surprised, and she gave him a strange look, and then she laughed. She looked at another aeroplane up there in the storm, she asked. Another aeroplane there in the storm? No other aeroplanes were flying tonight. She told him that there was no other aeroplane flying that night. Yours was the only one I could see on the radar. The woman told him that his was the only aeroplane flying in the storm. She could only see his aeroplane on the radar. So, who helped me to arrive there safely without a compass or a radio or without any more fuel in my tanks? These were the questions. It is a mysterious or a unique experience of a writer, Frederick Forsyth, who was the pilot on the strange black aeroplane flying in the storm without lights. Children, this is all about the explanation of our lesson, The Black Aeroplane.